All right, cool. I think we're live. There's usually a little bit of a delay, but I'm going to forge ahead. All right, welcome everybody to the first, I guess, RoberCon Town Hall Q&A Facebook Live with the major organizers that help this thing go. So I guess let's go around and introduce everybody. Brian, would you like to start us off?
Hi, I'm Brian Keller, and I'm kind of wrangling the gaming side of RoberCon.
Awesome. Chris?
I'm Chris Coker. I'm organizing a lot of the panels and special guests and things like that.
Crystal?
I'm Crystal, and I am running all the writing and workshops this year.
Awesome. And I'm Nat, and I guess I heard some of the cats. I heard the people who heard the cats, I guess, and make sure the budget goes. All the admin stuff. So RoberCon is virtual this year, and I think we're all acting like we know what we're doing. We have all been taking notes and attending other virtual cons, so you could almost say that we're learning from everybody else's successes and failures. RoberCon this year is taking place September 27th or September 26th and 27th. And it's taking place across Zoom and Discord. Zoom is our panel rooms and workshop spaces. And then Discord is more of our convention hall with vendors, fan groups, tabletop games, and all manner of community gathering spaces. But this year, we haven't really skimped it all on content-wise. We have a lot of panels lined up.
There's a lot going on for sure.
Yeah. So what do we have going on this year in terms of panels?
Well, I mean, we were all sort of disappointed that we could not have RoberCon in person this year. But the good thing is it means that we can have people dial in from literally all over the planet. I mean, we have people from Scandinavia, Scotland, England, all across the United States. I'm sure I'm leaving out some places as well. And we have a lot of great topics. I mean, one of the great things about RoberCon is that it is really a fan-driven event that we generally don't have big guests. We do this year. That was one of the advantages of going online as well. But, generally the backbone of the event is fan-related panels and gaming and writing workshops and all of those kind of things. So there are something like almost 50 panels getting together on various topics in pop culture and sci-fi, anything from Doctor Who, Star Wars, Star Trek are usually the main ones and the big ones. Harry Potter, there's a lot of Harry Potter content this year. But we also have some things that are a little more culty, like Rick and Morty, South Park, all kinds of great topics, some topics about authors. There's one about Jim Butcher's Dresden Files. If you read those books, or if you're like me, you saw the TV show that was on Sci-Fi like years ago. There's a panel about the Wheel of Time, Robert Jordan, R.I.P. There's one about Ray Bradbury, would have been 100 years old this year. So my friend John is doing a panel about Ray Bradbury and his work. So, I mean, all kinds of great topics, amazing topics. I can't name all 50
Yeah.
of them. So
I was about to say, you don't have to list them all.
I encourage people, I'm just trying to give a taste of the eclectic nature of it. There's some video gaming panels. There are a few gaming-related panels that are apart from the gaming that's being offered on Discord. So a lot of great discussions that are going to happen among fans who are not experts, but are nerdy fans who will help to lead discussions about all these various topics.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a lot of the panels. I'm very excited to either kind of creep in on a few. But I'm really excited about like the diverse number of people that we've been able to gather to this convention, especially through, like, my goodness, writing. The writing track, Crystal. My goodness.
Yeah, we actually have 27 authors who are going to be joining us this year. Not only from local authors right here in the Binghamton and Owego and Oneonta regions, but Baltimore, Maryland is incredibly well represented. We have a fantastic speculative poet coming in, or I shouldn't say coming in, appearing with us from Corning. We have 5 speculative poetry poets actually participating now. So we were going to do another speculative poetry workshop if you really want to explore writing in this particular genre. We will also have a reading by all 5 of our spec fic poets, as it's called. If you don't know what that is, it's writing poetry that is set in, whether kind of a science fiction feel to it or fantasy horror. Dark poetry is also part of it. It's actually a pretty popular and growing market in this industry. Beyond that, we've got programs, or panels I should say, on paranormal romance, on how to world build if you're a sci-fi writer and you're having to build an entire galaxy for your story to play in, because I think there are a lot of challenges with that are different from fantasy world building, for example. Some of the other workshops we're going to do, Paul D. Smith, who is the author of the Jason and the Draconaut series, is doing a workshop about how to discover who your characters are. It's not as easy as it sounds like it should be. We will have a panel for particularly writing for middle grade and young adult readers. It is a completely different approach in how to make those stories interesting without talking down, I think, in many ways. We're going to have a panel on editing, which a lot of new writers especially don't think as much about, and is such an important part, especially if you decide to go indie. So lots and lots of different panels, 27 authors. A particular panel I want to highlight, we're doing a panel about taking the idea and actually turning it into a story, because ideas are easy. You got tons and tons of ideas, but that doesn't mean it's a real story. So on Saturday, we're having a panel on this, but then on Sunday, we're doing a workshop where you're invited to bring your idea, and then we're all going to brainstorm it and see what we can do to actually turn that into a story.
That sounds really cool.
There's a lot going on that's really, really exciting.
Yeah.
The one that I'm most intrigued by, I have to admit, is the one about writing a novel under a very short deadline.
Yep.
That I'm sure some people have tried that with National Novel Writing Month to write a novel during November. Yep. But what if you actually have to do it professionally and have it ready for publication within a short time frame?
Yeah.
How do you motivate yourself? How do you get yourself to really do it?
Yeah, I'm a writer and I'm interested in that panel. Valerie Valdez is one who is joining us from outside of the region. We are incredibly lucky to have them. She's got a lot of different books that are out there that are super fun, super, I think, just a really interesting take on the universe. So all of these authors are published with, man, if I tried to list all of the books, just that have been written by our authors, it'd be a really long list and it would take an hour. But I think if you're an aspiring writer, you just want to know more about it, this is the best that we've had for RoberCon.
Yeah, I was looking at the list and I was a little both amazed, and I want to applaud all of your efforts for getting all these amazing talents. But I mean, echoing what Chris said, it's kind of nice that it's a little bit before NaNoWriMo. So I feel like it's a perfect opportunity to get people in that headspace. And if you're a planner like me, October is like just after RoberCon, so you can take that time to start filling your headspace with writing.
We call that pantser in the lingo. No. Pantser is the one where you're writing by the seat of your pants. There's
And
a
then
particular-
Plancer.
Plancer is you're like me. You've got like 80,000 Post-its, and then you just wander off and ignore all of the planning that you've done.
I love it. I absolutely love it. But yeah,
Plotter.
so yeah.
Plotter.
Yes, a plotter. Sorry, yeah, you're right. Planner, plotter. Yeah. So yeah, and then I guess our social spaces, Brian, you have some wonderful gaming stuff lined up, I hear.
I'm certainly getting there. Let's put it that way. Gaming is very much a social, get around a table, throw some dice at each other, and do some wacky stuff. But because of a pandemic, we have all adapted to different ways of doing things. I do have quite a few of the normal folks who are going to be running certain things. I know Dan Hunzik is going to be running some demos of his games by way of Discord. Basically, everything's going to meet on Discord, and then the GM is going to take you on a fantasy somewhere. And that might involve actually going on to a separate site called Roll20, which is used for Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder type games. I spoke to one of my Pathfinder GMs, and he might be interested in doing that. I know that Kevin Kreiner, who has been very, very popular at RoberCon in the past, is going to actually be running a 2-hour or a 2.5 to 3 hour long LARP, live action role play, that is going to use Zoom as the horror LARP for a Call of Cthulhu LARP that is going to be going on I want to say Saturday night. He's also running a couple of Call of Cthulhu games. Dan Schwartz is not only doing the Bear Challenge, but he's also going to be running a Fate game. So I got quite a few GMs that are looking to run some stuff. And frankly, if somebody's interested, send them my way. Let's see if we can get some more people interested. That's for sure. A couple of my friends from out of town in Queens, speaking of people coming from abroad that have come up in the past and run games, are going to be running as well. So we're going to have quite a bit of selection for people to step their foot in, and not just the normal Dungeons and Dragons and elves and dwarves and stuff like that. I wanted to say my one friend, Nico, is running Worldwide Wrestling and Passion de las Pasiones, which is a Powered by the Apocalypse dramatic role-playing telenovela game.
Oh, that sounds so fun.
It's fantastic. I've seen him run it, and it is a very, very, very popular game when he has run it in the past. So that's going on. That is, it will be done by way of Discord or Roll20 or whatever flavor that they like to use, but we'll all be meeting on the Discord servers to kind of break out from there.
Yeah. I do feel so lucky that we have this technology during this time to actually socialize. While a virtual con doesn't provide that same kind of feeling of closeness as being in person and being able to interact and overhear somebody talk about something and be like, oh my gosh, I like that too. Kind of have that meet cute moment of friendship. I do think that I do feel incredibly lucky that we have all these ways that we can meet and still connect with people during this time during RoberCon. And I think through workshops and panels and tabletop games are all diverse ways for people who feel comfortable to connect with one another, which is absolutely amazing. And the fact that I guess everyone on this Zoom call has been able to reach out into like a broader network of people that we wouldn't normally be able to get. I mean, even our special guests like Paul McGann and Miriam, like we would have never been able to do that in person. Right.
I mean, that definitely again, it's as you said, it's sad that we're not having it in person, but we are able to have a couple of special guests dial in for Q&As. Paul McGann, who played the Doctor, Eighth Doctor, in the 1996 TV movie that was on Fox, and has since done literally hundreds of audio adventures through Big Finish Productions. In the meanwhile, also has an amazing other career apart from Doctor Who. Has been in the cult classic Withnail and I, which if you haven't seen it, everybody in Britain knows what Withnail and I is. If you haven't seen it in America, definitely check it out. He was in Luther with Idris Elba. He was in.
Really didn't know that.
Yeah, he was in a bunch of stuff. He was in Alien 3, which Crystal tells me I don't really need to see, but at some point I might, just so I could see Paul McGann dressed like a completely insane person.
Did you mention Horatio Hornblower?
He was in Horatio Hornblower, the miniseries that was on. What am I missing here? I mean, he's just done a bunch of amazing acting over the years that even apart from Doctor Who. So
my favorite role
of that will.
I'm sorry. Yeah. My favorite role for him was in the Three Musketeers.
Three Musketeers. He was in that.
He played the cowardly brother of Chris McDonald's paramour or something like that. So
he's been in a bunch of great stuff over the years. So it's great to have him. And also Miriam Margolyes, who a lot of people know as Professor Sprout from the Harry Potter films, has, and I looked this up the other day, has literally been in about 180 roles over the last 50 years. So she has done so much over that period, was in Blackadder, was in all kinds of stage roles, was in The Age of Innocence that Martin Scorsese directed, was in, I forgot until I was looking it up the other day, she was in the Romeo and Juliet film, that she was the nurse in Romeo and Juliet.
She was
mid-90s. Yeah, I mean, once you spot her, you realize she's been in everything. I mean, she has a role in Call the Midwife. The last few years, there's a funny story about how she essentially went on every talk show for about 3 or 4 years and said, I'd really like to be on Call the Midwife. Wouldn't it be great if they called me and cast me? And eventually they called her and cast her in a role. So, I guess if you put it out into the universe enough times, it might happen. But
that's just amazing to me that she just did a press tour to get on her favorite show. That's amazing. I love her so much. One of
the interviews before she was cast, the whole focus of the interview was, here's why Call the Midwife probably will never call me. Why they will never cast me. And then there, within a year or two, there she was, and she's been on the show the last few years. So
some of the fun conversations Chris and I've been having is apparently she's quite the salty.
She's very
person.
outspoken. One of the comments that I read online said that most of us have that filter where we realize this is maybe not something we want to say out loud, but Miriam doesn't really seem to have that filter. So
we'll see what happens.
It's going to be an interesting interview. Amy Hogan from MuggleNet is going to be doing that interview, which is the big Harry Potter site online. So good luck, Amy. Excited to see how this goes. I'm sure it's going to be awesome, but certainly keeping Amy on her toes. So
that's the best kind of interview, right?
and I just want to mention, let's not forget Friday night before the convention, we're doing a pre-convention free concert for people with my good friend Dr. Pants, who is a nerd rock musician from the Oklahoma City area. And he has a lot of great, cool, nerdy music out there. I actually used a couple of his songs about Doctor Who in a video that we're going to run as sort of the pre-interview video for anybody who tunes in early on Zoom to see the Paul McGann Q&A. I used a couple of his songs on there, so
I think I know the one you're talking about.
yeah, he's a really good guy. He's got a lot of great music. You can find him online. drpants.bandcamp.com. Check him out, and hopefully we'll get a bunch of people to tune in for that and check out his music.
Heck yeah. Before I move on to vendors and fan groups, I want to let people on Facebook know, hey, leave us a comment in the comment section if you have a question, and we will answer it. I'm looking at Facebook right now, so if anybody has any burning questions about how all this is going to go off, let us know. But yeah, so also for social spaces on Discord, we're trying to make Discord as much like the convention hall as possible, which includes vendors and fan groups. And I gotta say, so vendors this year was a little different. We didn't get our usual tablers, but instead we got a lot more small crafters, which was really interesting. We got a few of the usual suspects. We got like Edgar, the violinist, Gray of Graphics, who is always up in our mansion playing her violin, and she sells some awesome art. And we have our usual Joseph Palmetier of Zombies Need Brains, and his
Joshua.
Sorry, it's Joshua. Thank you. Keeping me on track, Crystal. From Zombies Need Brains, they're selling their anthologies and a bunch of other merch and books. And I believe they have a Kickstarter going on right now, which is really awesome. So we have a few of the usual vendors, but we have a few small crafters. I think like Rittenby, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Design, who designs a lot of interesting stuff. I think she has some Avatar merch that she's going to be selling, some D&D merch, really unique, crafty stuff. We have a lot of people who normally wouldn't table at RoberCon because the price point is just a little out of reach and it's not quite sure if they're going to get that return. But this year we have a lot of independent people who pour their heart and soul into embroideries and anthology series and books and like small published authors, like really amazing stuff that you normally wouldn't get at the normal, usually at RoberCon. So it's been a really great thing to see these new folks coming in. And then of course we have our fan groups, which are always really fun. If you're ever kind of looking for group, the fan groups, we have everything from paranormal investigators, philanthropic Star Trek groups. We have LARPers. We have, I think, the Syracuse chapter of Extra Life coming in. So we have a lot of really great people this year. And I do, again, echo what everybody's already said, that bringing in new people, but also bringing in people from the Binghamton and Broome County community and in and around it, for people to meet and socialize and have these new experiences, but also have, I guess, still some of the same. It's a little different, but also a little bit of the same. So it's this nice balance, which I think is really great, being able to have this community effort. So.
And let's, if we're going to talk about cool things that people can buy, let's not forget RoberCon merch. There are some great shirts. Eric Maruschak has designed some great new shirts this year. For some of them, I think at least one of them references the pandemic, but some of them are just more fun, nerdy kind of shirts. In fact, he designed this shirt last year, where you can see aliens over the Roberson mansion, which is always amazing to me. I love this shirt. He did some other great shirts this year as well.
I can do a screen share, Chris.
Awesome. Oh, there you go.
I totally forgot. I'm like, I have the technology. I have the capability.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have, this is the wonderful RoberCon store. As you said, Eric designed all of these.
Oh, yeah.
And this is all from Zappia. So we have, you know, of course, your pandemic wear, your face masks, and then, of course, more pandemic wear, the RoberCon pandemic response team.
Oh, yeah, there's a couple of them, I think, that talk about pandemic stuff, I think.
Yeah. And of course, you have your Dungeons and Dragons, your cosplay, your podcasting, ghost hunting, and various RoberCon branded stuff. And you can get it in whatever color you choose.
There's a rainbow of colors. I have to admit, I still have to figure out what color shirt or shirts that I want this year. I need to figure that out. But I will do that. I also want to mention that Eric and my other good artist friend Russell Swanger are going to be back doing something this year called Quick Draw, which, if you've seen it in previous years, it essentially is improv cartooning, where we take suggestions from the audience and we make them draw the things that we suggest. And some of them are pretty weird. There are some great photos and videos on the RoberCon Facebook page that you can check out from previous years. But somehow we figured out how to do it virtually this year. And if it's still the plan, and I believe it is, Natalie, we're going to do a special preview version of it at this time, 7 p.m. next Thursday, where Eric and Russ are going to dial into the Zoom, and we're gonna try it out. I mean, it's kind of a trial run for when we're gonna do it during the convention, but it's also gonna be a fun way to kind of get a taste of what it's all about, because it's really fun when you're there, but it's kind of hard to explain.
Yeah.
Similar to Brian mentioned earlier, the Bear Challenge that Dan Schwartz runs every year. The Bear Challenge is one of those things that once you're in the room, you get it, and it's hilarious, but it essentially is it's essentially a parlor game that they've now turned into like a RoberCon tradition, where you essentially write down qualities that a bear might have, and you pull them out of a hat, and then you discuss which one would win in a fight. And then it's sort of like a bracket system where, you know, they eventually have the two final bears, and then they fight. They have a fight. It's sort of like it's sort of a fun intellectual discussion about which bears would win.
It's March Madness for bears.
And I'm also thrilled to say that I think Russ is going to be doing drawings again for that this year. The last couple years, I've made him try to draw the bears that are described during the Bear Challenge, which can be tricky because, for instance, one of them is a bear that has chainsaws for hands, you know, or a bear that, squirts pea soup out of his mouth or whatever. And Russ does his best to try to show what that might actually look like. So that's always kind of fun to watch as well during the Bear Challenge. I had to explain it carefully to Russ the first time as well, but I think he's really gotten the hang of it in the last few years. So it's fun. One of the fun things.
Yeah. I mean, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, while I'm thinking about it, we should also mention that there'll be a couple things happening Saturday night too, right? That there'll at least be a Harry Potter trivia thing on Saturday night, also being run by MuggleNet. And we might have another trivia thing, and I don't know what else is planned for Saturday night too, but
I think I might try and swing a watch party or two, maybe do some public domain, Night of the Living Dead, that kind of stuff. But
the gaming.
And the gaming continues.
Oh, and the gaming.
We go from 10 a.m. until the last game starts at 8 p.m. And so it goes from basically 10 to 10 for Saturday night, and
right.
10 to 5 on Sunday. So
I'll probably end up pulling out a few of my Jackbox games and being just like, anybody want to play with me? But yeah, It sounds like a good time. I'm going to check the Facebook page real quick. And nobody has any questions.
Nobody has any deep questions about
We've
how it's all
answered.
gonna work?
Yeah, we've answered everything.
I mean,
I have a
That's
question.
straightforward. What?
what's
I have a
Chris's
question.
Oh, what's your question?
Where do you buy a badge?
The most important question of all, at robercon.org. And it's only $15. And you support an entire museum.
Yeah, I mean, that's really important to mention that the museum, obviously, just like everything else, was shut down for several months this year, and obviously had no income during that time of people coming to see all the exhibits and things. So I'm thrilled. I mean, RoberCon has always been a fundraiser for the museum, but I'm especially happy this year that we're raising money to help the museum and help keep the doors open. The doors are open again in a limited way now, but to keep them open into next year and as many years as we can keep it going. So
Yeah. Yep. Well said, Chris. I couldn't have said it better
thank you.
myself.
I mean, it's just, it's just something that we always talk about. We need to stress this more, but especially this year, we need to stress that it is a fundraiser. It is probably the only fundraiser that is able to happen this year for the museum. I mean, usually there are a couple others during the year, but those are very much in-person events. It will be hard to have the Roberson Wine and Food Festival in a virtual way, at least right now, with the current technology. If we ever get one of those like replicators like on Star Trek, maybe we could do that in a virtual way, but we cannot do that now. So,
Yeah.
Things like that. So it's really important to just let people know that, it's $15 for the weekend. I mean, you get a lot of stuff. I mean, you could sit there for, 6 or 7 hours and watch all kinds of panels on all kinds of topics, writing workshops, gaming, all of that stuff. And I'm really happy with how it's all come together this year. And just, I really appreciate everybody who's involved. All of you folks are great. Especially all the people who stepped up to be panelists from everywhere for the writing track and the general track. All the people who are going to be gaming, running the gaming, all of that stuff. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. It always surprises me every year how many people just come together and say, yes, I want to be a part of this thing, and volunteer their time and knowledge to contribute because it's something that they love. And it's convention scenes have always been like an important fabric of at least my upbringing. I don't know about you guys, but being a nerd before Facebook was really hard, you guys. And being able to have that dedicated day or days as we have it to be together, to find one another in this space is, I think, really important. I think it still is. I hope it still is.
Well, I mean, it's going to be a little different this year, but hopefully people will still make the connections that they made in the past. Yeah. I mean, this is year 8 of RoberCon, and I know for a fact that many, many people have met fellow nerds and geeks and gamers and writers through RoberCon, through panels, through being on panels together, meeting people in the audience after, all of that stuff. And I see it every day on Facebook, and it never ceases to make me a little happy inside when I think about it, because these people never would have met if it hadn't been for this event and putting everybody together to meet each other. So I'm thrilled that we're still able to do it this year. It's going to be a little different, but hopefully people will still figure out how to meet each other and have a great time talking about the things they love and doing the things they love with gaming and all of those kind of things. So it's going to be awesome.
Yay. Oh, I'm so excited. You're going to make me cry.
You had a point there? Crystal, were you going to say something?
No, just agreeing.
Oh, you did? Oh, you did? You know.
We're all just agreeing with you, Chris.
I know, for instance, a lot of writers have made connections through the writing panels, Crystal, right?
They have.
Yeah, so I mean, it's, you know, people have collaborated, become friends, you know, figured out how to become editor and writer, or writer and editor, through various panels and things. So it's great. It's great. And the fact that now we're going global. Potentially we have people dialing in from everywhere. Maybe somebody's dialing in from space. You know, maybe somebody on the International Space Station will.
Oh gosh.
You never know. It's possible. So maybe we'll make global connections now. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I'd be thrilled if we did.
That would be amazing. I would absolutely love it. I think I'd be just like, all right, I'm done. Accomplished. All right. It looks like we don't have any other questions, unless Crystal, you have anything to remind me of, keeping me on track. That's good. Okay.
Natalie, we're keeping each other on track.
I know. Yeah. At this point. Yeah.
Each other on track. Let's be honest.
Yep. Yep.
That's what it's about. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, I think I'm good. Do you guys have anything else left to say?
So, RoberCon.org is your place to go. Look at all 50 of the panels and figure out, because I guarantee you there is something on that list that you love. There's at least one thing. There's probably 5 or 6.
There's Steven Universe. There's D&D.
Yeah,
there's Lovecraft. There's
yeah, I mean, Kevin, I'm borrowing Kevin Kreiner for an hour, Brian, and he's going to talk on the Lovecraft panel, I think. You know, there's just all kinds of great stuff going on. You know, I guarantee you there, and we really have a lot of Doctor Who and Harry Potter stuff going on this year.
For obvious reasons.
Right. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, that's why, but I'm happy that there's going to be a bunch of various topics, you know, about those two things in particular, because of Paul and Miriam are going to be dialing in with us. And I'm so excited about that. I'm also a little bit scared. I'm not going to lie, but I'm excited. It's going to be awesome. So hopefully that'll work out really well and people will have a good time.
Sounds awesome.
Even
all
if
right.
it's all on my face, people can still enjoy seeing that, I guess. That's always the fun of it. And I will laugh along with them.
That sounds good. All right. Well, I think that's it, everybody. I guess let's wave goodbye and sign off. Bye, everybody.
Next week, 7 p.m. Thursday, quick draw. We'll have the notice up on Facebook soon, and I'll remind the boys that they volunteered to do that. So
that's always good, yeah. All right, bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.